In all rescue situations, it is important that you establish access to your patient quickly. This is often through a window or open door. However, in a severe crash, a vehicle may be so mangled that simple access is impossible. In these cases, access might be through the roof or trunk of the vehicle. Knowing how to perform roof and trunk procedures quickly and safely will help you to access and extricate your patients so they can get the life-saving care they need. In this program, the training objectives are to demonstrate procedures on a collapsed roof, to demonstrate a roof flap, to show how to lay down a roof, to demonstrate total roof removal, and to demonstrate trunk tunneling. If the roof of a vehicle has collapsed in a crash and your patient is trapped, a very effective way to reach and extricate your patient is to raise the roof. This creates more space and better access. To raise a collapsed roof, you can use various tools like manually operated jacks, rescue airbags, power rams, or spreaders. When raising a roof, take advantage of already existing crash-inflicted damage when placing and operating your equipment. The area that has suffered the most damage will often be the easiest to bend back as well. As with any roof task, begin by cutting all the seat belts before starting the roof procedure. This will help prevent further injury to occupants trapped inside.
I don't want you moving at all. Okay. We're going to start up here.
Once the belts are cut, you can move on to the crushed roof. If the edge of the roof is crushed, a lifting tool can be used through a window to lift it up and return it to its original location. A manually operated tool that works well in this situation is a manual jack. Place the base plate on the bottom of the window opening or inside on the floor of the vehicle closest to the door. Raise the jack upward until it is positioned at the bottom of the open window. Now, lift the nose to the top of the window. Grasp the handle at the end for the most control. Operate the jack until it has created enough space to reach and extricate the patient. Hydraulic spreaders can also be used to lift the edges of a roof. Position the top tip of the spreader against the edge of the roof and the bottom tip against the door through the window. You may need to reposition the spreader and repeat to gain necessary lifting height as you work. If you need to push the center of a roof to create more space, use a hydraulic ram. Slide the ram into position through one of the access windows. Place it in the desired position and crib underneath the vehicle and the ram's position. Once your cribbing and personnel are in place, extend the ram slowly to create space. You should also assign another crew member to watch the roof for tearing metal while you are performing the evolution. You may need to reposition the ram and lift other parts of the roof to provide adequate space to reach your patients. Another roof evolution that you need to know is the roof flap. A side impact crash can render the side of a vehicle mangled and unmanageable, leaving the roof as your best option of entry. The roof flap method is the original roof evolution, which consists of literally flipping or flapping the roof in one direction away from the passenger compartment. Before you do any cutting on the roof, it is imperative that you locate and recognize the presence of loaded roof-mounted airbags and their pressurized gas cylinders. To do this, peel away the trim along the roof rail and inspect the revealed area. Once you have identified the cylinders, use a permanent marker or other means to mark their locations on the outside of the car. This will remind you and your crew not to cut into this area during any roof procedures. Now that the hazard has been identified, you can begin the cutting required for a roof flap. In this evolution, you will peel back the roof by cutting through the 2 front A-pillars, as well as making 2 relief cuts toward the rear at the roof line in front of the last pillar. You can accomplish this with any kind of cutting tool. Peel away the trim and make note of any airbags you need to avoid. Cut both A-posts above the dash and mirrors. Then, cut both B-posts high along the roof line. Now that the perimeter of the roof is cut free, make relief cuts in the roof edge near the C or D pillars. Once the A and B posts are cut, attack the back center of the roof to create a crease for a fold. Finally, fold the roof rearward at the crease onto the trunk of the car. Another option is to perform the same technique, only backwards. Instead of bending the roof and flapping it toward the rear of the vehicle, you will flip the entire roof with the windshield still intact over to the front end of the car. Again, it is very important to note that this is where pressurized gas cylinders are stored. Pay attention to the markings you made to locate these cylinders earlier on in the size-up. If you are using hydraulic cutters, completely sever both the C or D posts near the bottom. If cylinders are present, cut below them to sever the pillars. Then, attack both B pillars near the roof line. Make relief cuts in the A pillars at the visors near the top of the windshield. Finally, flip the entire roof forward onto the hood of the vehicle. This technique is still an alternative if you need to gain access at the rear of the vehicle. However, materials used in new vehicles may prevent folding the roof, eliminating this option at some collisions. If you are working on a side-resting vehicle, cutting the pillars on the top side of the car to lay down the roof is a great way to access and remove a patient. To lay down a roof, inspect the roof line on the high side of the vehicle for any airbags or other hazards. Mark any that you find. Next, cut the high side roof pillars A, B, C, and D at the roof line. Try to make your cut as flush with the roof as possible, so that when the roof is peeled down, the remaining pillars will not protrude into the patient work area. Once you have made the high side pillar cuts, make 2 relief cuts, one at the bottom of the A pillar, and the second at the bottom of the C or D pillars. Finally, pull and fold the entire roof structure down, laying it on the ground. Be sure you implement sharps protection on any exposed areas, both high and low, as you continue with the rescue. The most common roof evolution you need to know is a total roof removal. This technique provides quick and easy access to the patient, as well as a fast extrication pathway for removal. To do this, you will cut all of the roof pillars and remove the entire roof structure as one unit, so that the vehicle eventually resembles a convertible. Total roof removal will give the most access to all the occupants trapped inside the vehicle. To begin, cut all the seat belts and peel away the inside trim material along the pillars and roof line. Locate any undeployed airbags in roof-mounted side impact airbag systems. This will also reveal seatbelt pretensioners, which are usually mounted in or on the B pillar. When you have located all of these items, mark or make note of them to avoid cutting them during the evolution. Now use a reciprocating saw to cut both of the C or D pillars. These are often the largest and thickest pillars to cut, and a reciprocating saw will usually be the fastest tool to get the job done. You can also use an air chisel or a power cutter, although it will take longer to complete due to the thickness of the pillars. After both rear pillars are cut, attack the B pillars. If you are going to remove the windshield along with the roof, make a horizontal cut along the bottom of the windshield with a saw from the base of one A pillar to the other. Once you have cut every roof pillar except the front A pillars, stabilize the roof using your crew before the final cuts. Always cut the A pillars last, ending with the driver's side pillar. This will help keep the roof intact and secure over the driver while you finish cutting apart the roof. Once the final pillar is cut, lift the roof off and away from the patient with the windshield attached and dispose of it in the debris area. Always finish with sharps protection. In order to reach a patient in a severe crash, you may need to gain access to the occupant area through the trunk. This is called trunk tunneling. This task is difficult and can be time-consuming. It is best used when a vehicle is crushed under a large truck or when only the rear of the vehicle is accessible. First, open the trunk. If the trunk is jammed, you will need to forcefully gain access. Once the trunk is open, unload any content that is inside. Look for any fuel system components in the forward wall partition of the trunk. The vehicle fuel tank may also be found on its edge across the front or sides of the trunk. It is imperative that you pay attention to these hazards. You may need to work around them or even remove them if possible. The trunk tunneling goal is to open up the rear of the vehicle like a hatchback. To do this, you will remove the trunk lid, the rear window, and the rear speaker deck. First, begin with the trunk lid. Use hydraulic cutters to attack the latches and remove the trunk lid from the vehicle. Then, remove the rear window as you would the front windshield. Now that the rear window is removed, the back of the vehicle begins to look like a hatchback. Your next step is to locate and remove the rear speaker deck. Once removed, attack the rear seat partition. Removing this section will give you full access to your patient and allow a clear path for extrication. The back of the rear seat is either bolted or screwed to the metal rear window deck or the metal partition that separates the trunk from the passenger compartment. To free the seat back, you can either cut the seat from these mounts or attack the mounts themselves. Cut and remove all the springs and wire structure from the seat. Then cut open the cloth on the back of the seat. Completely remove the seat back cushion material. Once the rear of the seat has been opened, you can gain access to the passenger compartment. As an emergency responder, the life of your patient lies in your hands. If you cannot reach them in a safe and efficient manner, they may not survive. Serious crashes can present you with enormous obstacles. Good working knowledge and these extrication skills can help you to quickly and effectively extricate your patients. In this program, you have seen how to perform procedures on a collapsed roof, how to perform a roof flap, how to lay down a roof, how to totally remove a roof, and how to perform trunk tunneling. Removing a vehicle's entire roof or tunneling through a trunk during a rescue may seem extreme, but when it enables you to gain access to a patient that needs immediate life-saving care, you quickly see how valuable these skills are for your success.